Welcome to Creating Connections Podcast, episode 161. I'm Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Vickie Musney.
And today, Vickie's going to share something personal.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what it is, but this ought to be good.
It's a good story of a not good example.
Pick it up. It's a good story.
It's a good story of a not good example.
Uh-oh. More after the break.
That was nice and easy.
What are you talking about? This also speaks to a much bigger issue.
Providing personal solutions through understanding people. This is the Creating Connections Podcast with Gitomer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vickie Musney.
Welcome back, Creating Connections Podcast, episode 161. This is a good story of a not so good example. This is the episode we give you a personal story, kind of a peek behind the curtain, if you will, in one of our lives. And this one is Vickie's. What's a not so good example?
You know, it's interesting having been in the wedding industry for over 20 years. I see things from a certain perspective. But my big brother is getting married this summer. And so now I'm back in like the family sister planning mode.
I'm still waiting on the contract, by the way.
That is a whole nother story about who's DJing their wedding. That will probably be an episode we do after the wedding.
I'm just kidding.
But when I was home visiting, I had a chance to go with them to start their gift registry process. And my brother and his fiance are both very, very green people, which means that they're super fun and laid back and they get along well with everybody. But they also tend to be that green that are so mellow, things get procrastinated and doesn't always get done. So when I was home visiting over spring break, I found out they hadn't registered yet, and I'm giving her shower. So I'm like, okay, I need to know that they've registered before I send the invitations out. So when after dinner, I said, hey, do you guys want to go and start your registry? I can go with you to the store and I'll just help you get going. And so we drove over to Bed Bath & Beyond and checked in at the customer service desk, and they said, oh yeah, go out to down to the left and you'll find the fine dining area and there's a counter there and someone will be there that will help you. So I'm like, great. So we walk down to that counter and she looks up from her desk and says, can I help you? It was 8:15 at night. We knew the store closed at 9, but we're going, okay, we got 45 minutes. We can get started.
Sure.
And my sister-in-law to be says, yo, we're getting married and this summer we want to start a registry. And the person behind the desk rolled her eyes and made this scowl. And she's like audible expression of irritation. You want to register now? Well, have you even started? I mean, have you gone online and set up any kind of a profile? This takes a really long time. There's no way you have time to do it tonight. I mean, it takes hours. Nobody comes through this process and doesn't feel completely overwhelmed by it. It was all I could do to not make fun of her right then and there. I mean, I was just shocked.
I would have gone to a different store.
Okay, but again, I've got the two people that I love that have procrastinated this for months. They're, weddings 2.5 months away at this point. And we're in a store that has everything that they need and products they love. So I'm trying so hard to not let one horrible salesperson make us have to start over. Because this store it's close to both of their homes. It's a big chain. Anybody anywhere that's from out of town can shop there. Their online stuff is, readily available. Like, it's easy. But I was just shocked. And I'm like, how do you treat someone like that? Especially, knowing that they're greens and they're already feeling overwhelmed. Like, But obviously she doesn't have any kind of sales training or personality training or anything.
Right.
But even like at a bare basics, like I get that she didn't know them. She hadn't personality profiled them. She couldn't research. We were walking in. But how could you not just say, congratulations? Hey, it is kind of a long process, but we can definitely get started.
Right.
You know, like
the key in that situation is to say yes first.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and, which is comedy training and improv training, if you will. I should say not comedy, but improv training. And but still, they have to start with yes. And it may take a little while. We can get started. Can you come back tomorrow to wrap up? Whatever the case may be.
Yeah. So I finally had to convince my sister-in-law. She had set her purse down because they have like this high counter with stools, like bar type stools. She'd set her purse down to start having the conversation. And then when the woman said that, she picked it up and she was about to leave.
Oh boy.
And I looked at them and said, well, we're here. You know, let's stay for a little while. We have 45 minutes. And I'm trying to like talk to them at the same time as I'm trying to convince this idiot saleswoman, you've got clients that want to register here. We have big families.
They want to give you money.
A lot of people coming to this wedding. We're all telling you, you have a couple hundred people that are going to come here and shop for them. Why would you be so rude to them? Besides, this is my brother and his fiance who I love. Like, how dare you? The funny part of this to me is that my sister-in-law, her neighbor on her street is actually the store manager. So I decided to let them finish this process, but he will get a phone call from me at work.
Interesting.
I want to make it miserable for them.
That was a plot twist I did not expect.
I was like, when Peggy told me that later, I'm like, ooh, if you don't want to talk to your neighbor about it, I'll just call the office and ask for him by name now that I know his name and let him know about that experience. And I'm not trying to get anybody to lose their job, but I just want people to think like a human being. Like, how could you treat someone that's getting married like that and intentionally try to overwhelm them more to the point where you're trying to shoo them out of your store?
Yeah, not only is this a conversation in regards to yes and on the front end, if you will, on the sales side, on the customer service side, but it's also on the operations side. Do you have the right people in the right seats on the bus? And that person either had a bad day, which can happen. You know, you don't know. That can happen. And maybe they just weren't the right frame of mind. And that's okay. Sometimes we have to allow for people to be human. When you made the comment, you know, why you got to be so rude? I went, don't you know I'm human too? My head just went there.
Yes, of course it did.
Of course it did. So I'm a DJ, whatever. So from that standpoint, again, are they the right person in the seat on the bus, though? Are they the right person to be greeting customers, to be having that kind of personality, to be bright and cheery and sunny and happy and taking care of your clients?
And I think she tried, Mitch, to come around and try to recover, but it was a long recovery after starting off that badly. And so when they finally finished setting up the online stuff and it got to the point where they could go walk around the store with the little scanner and like start scanning things, she actually said, well, do you want me to come with you? And my brother said yes. And I swear you could see the dagger looks that Peggy and I were shooting him, going, are you kidding me? You're going to let her come walk around with us? But then when we got out on the floor, she was super knowledgeable. Like, she knew the products and she was able to educate them on the different knife sets and which kind of knives have better handles and which ones are going to be stronger. And she knew brands and materials. So that was very interesting. So she had the knowledge, but she needed personality training, frankly.
But here's the other thing. So we talked about the sales side, we talked about the operations side, and the other element I want you to take away from the story is legacy. Yeah. Because 5-second, 10-second thing, that can be your legacy to someone else. And what's that bad press worth?
Mm-hmm.
How does that go down?
Yeah.
So,
and again, knowing it's a big chain like that, and I'm intentionally not naming names or
of course not. Of course
on,
not.
on this show, but honestly, if I ever was talking to a client that lived in that city, I would tell them, just make sure you find out whose shift it is and don't go talk to this person like it was that bad.
Well, and notice that's exactly what you just said. Don't go talk, even though they were great on the product knowledge, they did offer to go around and help after the fact. That still, in your eyes as the consumer, doesn't overcome that initial 3-second gut reaction. And
it was not just 3. Like, she had a chance to turn it around. It was the first 10 minutes. I mean, it was just negativity. Like, I, as the bridesmaid, as the sister, had to like convince all 3 of them, hey, we've got 45 minutes. We can still accomplish. Yeah, you're going to have to go back, but let's get started. You know what? Once you get started, you can even go and add some things online.
Sure.
You can do this. But it took a lot of cheerleading. I mean, it was just such a bizarre experience. And I guess I just want to remind people that we get so comfortable in our role, and we do know how long things take, and we maybe have seen clients get overwhelmed with long questionnaires or involved planning forms or whatever the case may be, but we don't need to overwhelm them on our own.
Right.
We can try to head that off. We can still try to be happy about it.
Yeah.
And make the most of the time. When you've got a hot lead like that walking into your place wanting to spend money, be friendly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
that's it for Creating Connections Podcast, episode 161. I'm Mitch.
And I'm Vickie.
Thanks so much for watching. We provide personal solutions through understanding people. See you next time.
Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to the Creating Connections Podcast with Gitomer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vickie Musni. For more information on providing personal solutions through understanding people better, visit creatingconnections.biz.